I often hear this question. My students ask me, people in different forums that I'm part of ask me, I get emails about this. What is the dark night of the soul? Why am I going through it? Why is it so hard? How long will it take? What's the whole point of this dark night of the soul? And I hear stories that are so heart-wrenching, so difficult. People losing loved ones, feeling isolated, kind of very separate from society. They cannot relate to anybody. And it just feels like entire life is a curse. And I know how this feels experientially because I went through this too for years. But today what I want to talk about is actually how this dark night of the soul may be a very important part of your spiritual awakening. How this is actually a blessing in disguise. It is spiritual awakening disguising itself as a difficult period in your life which you just want to get it over with. And yeah, nobody can blame you. It's really hard. And it can be an extended period of difficulty. And I know how meaningless it can feel in this time. I went through this. To give you a little more context about me, I'm a spiritual awakening mentor, and the only reason I became a spiritual awakening mentor and helped hundreds of people, and I'm continuing to build a community of people who are going through spiritual awakening, is because I went through the dark night of the soul myself, through many, many iterations of it. But in the beginning, what was so difficult that I felt so low, it was the rock bottom of my life. Even though I was an actor and I had so many friends, I had such a loving family, I was the life of the party. I was also a photographer and I really enjoyed doing that, and I had a good amount of money. And I was not just like a small-time actor, but I was playing in movies as the lead role. I have done many lead role movies, some of them even on YouTube. You can see them now after several years, right? But this was back in the day when my life looked picture perfect from the outside, right? But at the same time, I couldn't tell anybody how difficult it was inside for me. I tried. There was one friend who could kind of understand me. But I felt I couldn't get out of bed. For 4 days at a time, this was like happening every now and then, that I would go into this cycle of just feeling my entire life is meaningless, even with all these amazing things in my life. I wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink when I was in these states, especially. Wouldn't even get out of my bed, not even my bedroom. And it was just plain misery, it felt like. And I frankly didn't want to live anymore. I had a lot of self-harm thoughts, even though thankfully I didn't put them into action. But these experiences, these lows, which happened over many years, again and again, showed me a lot of patterns, a lot of things that then I saw once I felt called to help others through those patterns. I saw that it's very, very common. They are the same patterns. We go through this process called the dark night of the soul. Not because God wants to punish us. There is no punishment here. It's not something that happens to us, it's happening for us, like they say. It's a beautiful process where you are being shown who you truly are by removing the layers and layers and layers of the false self that have been held on to over the years, the stories that we have built on top of our true self. So much so that the true self is now really hard to find, even when we sit down to meditate and try to realize who we are. You might be on a spiritual journey where you may be seeking your enlightenment, or you may be seeking just happiness or peace, or just plain old, I want to be fulfilled in this life. But all these layers, which we can call the ego, which we can call the conditioned mind, is blocking our view of who we are. And the dark night of the soul is actually a blessing which comes as an amazing tool, a device that is programmed to remove whatever you hold on to and depend upon and grasp onto, especially for your identity. And that is why things that you hold near and dear are sometimes exactly what are removed from your life. It may seem tragic at that time. It may be a physical removal, or like losing somebody you love. It may be something even deeper, when everything exists that you love, but you just don't feel any connection to it. That's what happened to me. It's even deeper because I don't even know why I am just so feeling empty and meaningless. It challenges your sanity in a way. Because from one perspective you think you're like, oh, my life is so good and I have all these people, all these things, and all that I wished for a few years ago has come true. But at the same time, it's This just feels like I have been cheated of the happiness that comes with it. What I hoped for with it is not here. Do you know how this feels? Maybe you probably do because you're watching this video. But I am grateful that I went through this, because I know now how millions of people are feeling, how probably you are feeling right now. This was my call from my higher self, my higher purpose, preparing to express through me, preparing me as an individual, going through these ups and downs again and again, so I can intimately know these patterns. And when I help my students, my mentees through this, it's so funny almost how everything they have gone through, I know this in some form or another. And that gives me the ability to see what's the right next step for them. And with this big picture that I see, not getting bogged down by the definition of what is happening, just in its very compartmentalized individual meaning, but to see that there is a much greater meaning to it. It's hard to believe when I tell my mentees that this is a blessing that's happening for them. It's really hard to believe. It was for me, if somebody had told me. But something deep in me made me hold on and go through it. But I know a lot of people don't have that support that I had. So it can be really difficult to do this alone, almost impossible to do this alone. But with the right understanding of what is happening, with seeing this from a detached perspective, seeing the bigger picture, you get to know that God is bringing you closer to your own divine nature. God is removing all the obscurations, the filters, the conditioning, the samskaras in your mind, which are actually polluting your awareness. Because the biggest thing polluting the mind and not letting you integrate your spiritual awakening is the story of who you are. It's a false story. It's a lot of stories, actually. And these stories are full of I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. This is the mantra of the ego. And it just pushes that narrative upon your awareness so strongly that it's hard to see through it. And you are fooled into believing you are the ego. A part of you might be yearning for God, yearning for enlightenment, yearning for happiness and peace. But all these other conditionings are even twisting and turning even the highest intention you have, the purest intentions you have, into another story to add to the stack of stories that are stacked up as filters on your awareness. So along comes the dark night of the soul. And makes you question everything. Everything makes you question, like, who am I? What's the meaning of me being here? Like, why should I even exist? What's the point of eating, drinking, surviving? I feel so temporary. If I'm going to die anyway, what's the point of even going to this job that I'm going to, doing this 9 to 5? It can hit really hard. Really hard. It can be, at the same time, these questions can bring realizations. As you go through one of these questions like really deeply and you're struggling with that, first the ego struggles with it. It's the ego which is going through it's losing war. The dark night of the soul is the ego's losing war, where it's really desperately fighting to hold on to anything that it can, to use against the fullness of its own true nature, beyond the ego. It's really fighting to hold on to the sense of the false self. And it's going to throw everything at you. It's so desperate that it would rather commit different kinds of self-harm than to face its own divinity. It's It's very interesting, to say the least. This is what I've observed in my own mind and in so many people I've helped. It's the same old thing again and again. But as a disclaimer, I have to tell you, and also, it makes sense, not just as a disclaimer, but really, if you are going through some psychotic episodes or something which is beyond the scope of just spiritual advice, I highly recommend getting help from a qualified, certified professional who can give you hands-on help, right? So, yeah, I'm not a doctor or psychologist or qualified to help you in that way. But this is my observation. and observing my mind, really being vigilant, getting to know its what you call the modus operandi, its ways of how it has all these tactics to try to fool my awareness into believing I am a limited human being, and continue to struggle with this story rather than to let it go. The whole point of this dark night of the soul is to let go of your story. To let go of all your limitations. This is a catharsis, which is designed to free you from all these limitations. It's not a curse. It's not something that you are doing to right some wrongs or whatnot. It's not a tragedy, even though it may seem like it. This is actually a loving gift from God. This is full of grace. The dark night of the soul is full of grace and blessings upon blessings. And it puts you in a place where you come to this situation where there is no other go but to realize your divinity. That's what God is trying to do for you. There is no other way but to say, okay, I am not this limited personality, this limited body, limited mind. I have to now recognize who I am. That's the intention of it, but the ego complicates it so much. The complications are all ego. Life is just wanting to help you. Well, if you go even deeper, this entire drama between the ego and spirit is also orchestrated by spirit, of course. You know, the deeper you go down this rabbit hole, the lesser and lesser words make sense, concepts make sense, separation makes sense, duality makes sense. Lesser and lesser. And perfectly as it should be. Because that's how you realize that you are one with God. And you are doing this to yourself. That's the big secret here. That's the happy secret. That's the good news. You're doing this to yourself in a loving in a motherly fashion. You're taking your true self through this experience. Just thinking about this makes me feel just so grateful for my own journey through these ups and downs. And so much more grateful for having had the honor of helping others through theirs, because I know how difficult it can be when you're grasping for something in the dark. And you're desperate and there's no help. You don't need to do this alone. So when somebody comes to me, they're either going through a disruptive spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, or they just want to really achieve their highest potential, and they know there is so much more, even though they are successful in their spiritual journey in some way, they're like, I know there is more. But especially people who are like, I don't know what's going on, I need help, and I'm able to give them hope. I am able to show them that I've been through this and there are so many others who have been through this. Don't lose hope. Hold on a little more. It's all okay. It's really happening for you. Let go of your fears. Let go of your doubts. And that is what I invite you to do right now. Let go. Let go. If there is one thing that I can give as an advice to you to do by yourself, is learn to let go, let go, let go again and again and again. Because it makes things so much easier. It means that those things that you're holding on to don't need to be snatched away from you if you easily surrender them. But even easier than letting go by yourself is having help. So what's the best thing you can do as you're going through the dark night of the soul is to have a mentor who has gone through the dark night of the soul and sees what is really happening. Even better if you have a community of people who are supporting you through this. And even better if it's an enlightened mentor who has been transformed through their own journey through the dark night of the soul to the point of being able to recognize and realize their true nature. Because that's really the end of that journey. That's really why that journey is happening in the first place. And if somebody, even if you have a mentor who listens and helps you, but they don't really have the full view of what's happening, the full in-depth understanding, experiential understanding of what's happening, it may not be useful, even though they may have very good intent. And it's important that you relate to this mentor deeply. You can feel resonant with this person. So if you feel resonant with somebody in particular, try to see if they can help you. If you feel resonant with me, you can reach out to me. And I have dedicated my life to this because I know my life prepared me to do this work. And that is why I have built a community of people who are going through their spiritual awakening or dark night of the soul. And the emphasis of my community is to help each other through this, support each other through this, because I give a lot of tools, I give a lot of teachings. We meet every week on Zoom multiple times. We have meetings organized by me, we have guest teachers, we have self-organized meetings within the community. Just so much support, so that people can help each other even when you have all these tools but you feel stuck, right? So, for example, one of my mentees right now, he's going through a really hard time, and in the previous meeting, what I did was I went through this process with him step by step. I walked with him through this very confusing process which he couldn't by himself. I have given the guidance, I have teachings about it, I have homework assigned, but it's hard to do. So we did it together, and then we have a small group of people. We have an accountability group for him where he is supported by other members, even meditating together, doing the same process that we did on the live call together with him every day. So this kind of accountability, this level of support is sometimes what is needed, because it can feel completely opaque. You cannot see 3 feet in front of you when you are in this kind of a fog of the dark night of the soul. At the same time, it's just so beautiful. I cannot emphasize that enough. As these other members are helping this person, it's also enriching them, their own understanding. And what's happening is a deeper work on themselves as they help others. So really, it's creating a win-win-win situation for everyone. So yes, this video has been quite long, but I wanted to give you this deep insight, and I'm curious if all this resonates with you where you are. Please let me know in the comments, and if you have questions, if I didn't address something, or if my insights brought up more questions for you, I'm here to answer you as well. I would love to make more videos on this subject if you have questions about it, or I can just answer in the comments if it's something small. But know that I'm here to help, and I know what you're going through. I feel for you. So you are not alone on this journey at all. Keep going. Know that everything is okay. Know that all is well. Know that you are loved by God, by your higher self, and all this is a huge, huge blessing that is unfolding. You may not see it yet, but you will soon see it. Yeah. And with that, thank you so much. Namaste.